Hello my loves and a very warm welcome back to The Library is Open. So I hope you've brought your library cards, my darlings, and welcome indeed to the final video in the Waterstones Deansgate Summer Reading Challenge series. Yes, we have reached part 6 and we have, spoiler alert, completed our, I don't know why I'm talking I've finished my bingo card. Insert sound effect of applause. So yeah, let's wrap up everything. It seems fitting as well to finish this challenge on when this video will go live will be the August bank holiday in the UK, which incidentally is also the weekend of Manchester Pride, so that will be good. I will have, by the time you've seen this, marched with Equity, which is one of my trade unions, and it's something I do every year. I don't go to the festival because I don't pay for things, for events like that, but I do the community bit, which is open and free for everyone. So I will have done that, and now I will be presumably reflecting on that and also the reading I've done over the course of the month. So if you've missed any of the videos in this series, or if you're brand new, welcome. You'll find links to all of the previous videos, including the prompts that set the reading I'm going to talk about now, in the description. But let's go through, shall we, and sort of wrap up everything. Oh, it feels strange wrapping it all up, but my first prompt this time was to read a book set in summer. I could be paraphrasing, I don't have it in front of me. And if you recall, I went with the poetry collection Rotten Days in Late Summer by Ralph Webb, or could be Rafe, I don't know. And this is, it's always strange to try and review poetry because I often think that, I mean, I'm sure this is the case of most things that you read, but particularly poetry will ultimately depend on where you are as a person and how you relate to either the scenarios or the way the prose makes you, the text makes you feel. I thought this was lovely. It's an unusual collection about kind of youth, masculinity, disease, I guess, which kind of mirrors the end of summer, the sort of dying off of both a season and a literal dying off of flowers, so on and so forth. There's some beautiful stuff in this, and I think what's lovely, I suppose, about poetry as well, is that you don't always have to directly understand what the poet's talking about to relate it to something. So I suppose that's lovely. My personal favourite was one called Love Story, The Back Pages, which was about so it's sort of reflection on meeting love again, which you know, either in person or vicariously, and I just thought it was really, really beautiful. So yeah, there's a lot in here, I think, and again though, because I was aware I was reading the book for this, and I did intend to read it more kind of slowly and sort of as I felt like it, I did end up feeling like I had to finish the collection so I could talk about it a little bit. So maybe poetry is best to be dipped into unless it's narrative, but I thought this was really, really beautiful, and I would absolutely pick up something else that Monsieur Le Webb writes in the future, because I thought it was gorgeous. So yeah, there we go. I'll go out of order with these prompts for the sake of ease. So the next prompt was to read a standalone, so obviously that's pretty open, basically nothing that was in a series, and I chose to read The Very Nice Box by Laura Blackett and Eve Gleickmann, or Gleickmann, I'm not sure which, unfortunately. This was really, really fun. This is a kind of satire on, I guess a kind of satire, but still does feel rooted in reality of what would happen if, like, IKEA took over the world, or at least the furniture world, if you will, which I suppose it kind of has. And surprisingly, it turned out to be a bit of a thriller as well, which I didn't expect. Our plot concerns Ava, who works for this company called Sturda, I think that's how I'm pronouncing it, in Brooklyn, and her previous girlfriend has been killed along with her parents the previous year, and she's kind of in a bit of a tumult, And then this new guy arrives at the office who she finds herself falling in love with. This all happens quite early on, by the way, it's not spoilers. And then, but then some things don't add up about him, so she tries to marshal her trust and so on and so forth in him, but she's also got this like therapy app that the company have provided for their employees. It's all very sort of nefarious in some respects, and I don't really know how to explain more than that, really, because it's kind of without giving away any of the twists, but I really enjoyed this, actually. I thought it was a beautiful meditation on grief, but in a kind of light-hearted way. Can one be light-hearted about grief? Well, apparently so. And I just think the title's really, really cool as well. Very nice box. I love things that are just like, oh, it refers to, by the way, a box that she's designing for the furniture company called the Very Nice Box. It's not rude. It's not rude at all. But yeah, unexpected. I really enjoyed this. I would probably, have they written anything else? No, it's their debut novel. I don't know if they always write together as a writing team, but you can't tell, there's no joins, as it were. So yeah, this was really, really good. And then I did the little cheat thing for the 2 prompts, didn't I? Where it was to get a new book, basically treat yourself to a new book, and also a book that's based on true events. And I ended up picking up this, which I needed for work, which was Afro-Ben by A Secret Life by Janet Todd, which is a kind of biography, sort of. And I say kind of because a lot of it is quite speculative. In some respects, that's not a criticism. So Afro-Ben, if you're not familiar, is kind of the first, not the first, but the kind of first acknowledged female playwright of the Restoration period, which is a personal favourite of mine. And it's also about her life under monarchy, as a political spy, as kind of a lover, as possibly a bisexual poet, as a kind of a woman of that age, really. And the reason I say it's a speculative biography is because Janet Todd, who does a beautiful job with this, by the way, it's so interesting, doesn't often have, not often, sometimes doesn't have direct sources for things. So some of it is a bit like, this might have happened, or this suggests this, but you know, that's fine, because actually what she manages to do is really evoke the period of the time, the kind of intrigues, both political and royal, and also the literary scene. And, you know, for any kind of student of history, any student of theatre, or anyone who's just really, really interested in women writers, I mean, Virginia Woolf, for instance, always credited Afro-Ben. So, you know, it would be interesting for all of those people. And also, if you just kind of want like a rollicking good story, it's really interesting. And what Janet Todd does is, she doesn't, or rather doesn't do, is shy away from the fact that in contemporary parlance, Afro-Ben would have been seen as quite problematic in some of the ways that she dealt with things and the way she talked about things. But again, because it's historical, we have to be really careful, I think, about putting modern, or contemporary, I should say, labels or meanings onto historical things, because we don't have, I say this all the time, and I think about it quite a lot, is we don't have the power of understanding how people of the time conceptualized things in their own words. So we can't say, oh, this meant this, because that would require the people of that time to tell us that, yes, that is true. You know, e.g. in the same way, I think, well, I mean, it goes for anything in history, doesn't it? We can't say, oh, this person was a, this person was a, because when we say, for instance, feminist, queer, whatever, you know what I mean? We're putting our contemporary understandings of those terms onto historical things which may have been understood differently. Slight tangent there, but I really enjoyed this. It's chunky. It's chunky, but it went by pretty darn quickly, actually. In fact, I've just finished it today before I started filming this. But yeah, really enjoyed this. Very helpful for work as well. And then finally, the last prompt was to read something from an author new to you. And I chose to listen to the audiobook of The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. And this was a trip. So Riley Sager is a kind of thriller, suspense, I guess, writer who I've never read from before. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been doing the prompt. But I know their kind of fan base is sort of broad, quite broad in terms of people who really love their work and people who have like problems with their work or dislike it. I suppose that's true of every author, but they seem to be a particularly divisive thriller writer. And this one's really interesting. So, and a lot of people complained about the audiobook as well. I kind of thought it was fine, but maybe I'm just not discerning in that respect. I thought the narrator was fine. I know there's been some stuff online about the narrator not being great, but I didn't have a problem with that. But it's about this actor, and she is staying on an island. Her husband has died, and she's become kind of an alcoholic, or she's at least medicating a lot with alcohol. And she is spying on the couple across the lake. So far, so Rear Window, right? And she gets the idea that something is going on. She thinks the husband is trying to do away with the wife, whom she's become friends with because the wife's a model and she rescues her from drowning. And then, but she's convinced that something's going on, basically. But obviously, she's an unreliable narrator because she's often drunk and so on and so forth, which is, you know, a trope. But then, in the kind of third act, there's this twist that I did not see coming, and I don't still really know how I feel about it. I think I can't even say what it is in case you want to read it, but let's just say it flips genres. Yeah, let's say that it flips genres very quickly into something else, and you're like, really? Oh, okay, we're going with this. Okay. I'm not saying that was a bad decision to make, because actually, in some respects, how many twists in thrillers can you do, you know, before we're just expecting one of, say, 11? But yeah, it took it into a different direction, and I'm not going to say I loved it, but what I am going to say is that I had a good time. So, would I read from Riley Sager again? You know what? Yeah, probably. What I might do is check out one of their earlier books and see. I know Survive the Night in particular apparently is quite contentious, but what I might do is have a look on Goodreads or something like that. Other websites are available, and see what people have been saying and kind of look for like the top rated ones. I know that's all subjective, but here we are. Hey ho. So there we go. I mean, is that anticlimactic? I hope not, because I'm feeling pretty darn good. I'm feeling really good about the fact that I managed to do the whole month without, unless told to do so by the prompts, without investing in any new books. I've really managed to start working through my, I was going to say back catalogue then, like I'm the Sugar Babes or something, or Shakin' Stevens, but my TBR pile, I should say. Which is really, really good, because I felt this kind of burning desire to do that lately rather than just invest in new stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not on a buying ban, although I am on a reducing ban, book-wise. But no, that's been really, really good. And also a kind of timely reminder of me to be like, okay, you picked this up for a reason, so read it, you know. Oh, I almost forgot. So I did say in the last video that I hadn't yet done the review for Waterstones.com, which was one of the prompts, because I was waiting till the end to see which one I wanted to review, and I decided to go with, spoiler, I don't know why I was just looking over there for no reason. I decided to go with Tess Gunty's The Rabbit Hutch, which I talked about in the last video, I think. So I have now submitted that review to Waterstones.com, and what you'll see at the end of this video is a screenshot of that. I'll read it as well out loud to you, so you can see that I have indeed completed my bingo card. Yeah, so I guess that's it. This has been great. Part 6 of 6, here we are. And yeah, oh, and I'll show you my completed bingo card at the end as well. What I might do is have a week off after this from filming, and then come back to you kind of in the second week of September, not December, and then I'll be back with some new stuff. So if there is anything you would like to see, video-wise. I have a few ideas, some stuff for Halloween and then some sort of pre-festive stuff that I want to get filmed. But if there is anything in particular you'd like to see a video on or about, be that a theme, be that a particular book, please do let me know in the comments. But for now, as always, thank you for your support. I love you all very much, and put your library card somewhere safe until the very next time, for the library is now closed, and I will see you when we meet again. Much love. Okay, so here we go. Here is my review, as promised, of Tess Gunty's The Rabbit Hutch on Waterstones.com. I will leave a link to this as well if you want to see it in situ on the website in the description. So I've given it 5 stars. Woo! And I've called it, a little bit pretentiously perhaps, a haunting meditation on nothing and everything. So Tess Gunty's debut novel is a dazzling snapshot of life and lives in the 21st century that skillfully manages to speak to all of the major issues of our time without direct or explicit reference. That's a compliment, by the way. I hate exposition. Gunty creates a vibe that permeates the novel. One has the feeling one has stepped inside a smart-as-a-tack indie movie. The characters are vividly drawn, and Gunty builds empathy for them whilst allowing them to retain a moral fluidity, ricocheting between extremes and settling somewhere in the murky middle. I should have put quote marks around that, but oh well. It's an unsettling but ultimately compelling read that masterfully crafts a unique world and invites the reader in to take a peek. Huzzah. No one's done the up button yet for helpful, but I live in hope.